Seahawks lose against the 49ers 41-23. It was pretty close in the first half. I'll give the Seahawks credit for that. It's just in the second half that the Niners were just more of a talented team. So then they just beat them. And they really put up a good fight offensively. DK Metcalf was going off on that secondary. Tyler Lockett had a quiet game, but DK Metcalf was amazing this game. I'll give him his props. He did great with 10 catches and over 100 yards and two touchdowns actually. He went off. I was surprised about that because last game he wasn't great. When he played against the Niners, talking about that game specifically, 13-16.5, and they're playing great. They actually thought oh shoot, maybe the Seahawks could win this. Then Niners turned up. But let's talk about that first half specifically and what the Niners did wrong. The first two possessions defensively was pretty good for the Niners. They got them 3 and outs, and I think that one play they had -3 yards. The other one they only had 6 yards, which kudos to the Niners for doing that. And their running game wasn't that great. Their passing game was bad. Pressure was on Geno Smith in those first two plays. Now, offensively, the running game was insane. Christian McCaffrey went for a nice 66-yard run, and Debo was having some good plays as well. I think the team as a whole had 96 yards in the first half. I think in the first quarter specifically in rushing yards, they were really running the ball in their throat, which I said in my preview. Well, not preview, but in my Cardinals talking about them, about how the Niners are going to face the Seahawks, that the Seahawks don't have a running game at all, and it really showed. And their passing defense wasn't great either. Brock Purdy was throwing dimes all over the field. Well, not really. He did throw some really bad throws, but they weren't covering really. It wasn't really great coverage. It was more Brock Purdy throwing terrible throws. So they were pretty shit, not gonna lie. Elijah Mitchell did not have a good game at all, which was pretty surprising, but maybe he could have a good game next game. But he is recovering, but he did have a good game against the Cardinals. So I will give him a little bit of leeway on that one. I mean, no. It's against the Cardinals. It's an easier opponent than the Seahawks. But the Seahawks were not so to stop the run. They were in those 4 quarters. I don't know why they're running that stupid shit. They need to, run some 4-3 or something. Try to stop the run instead of stopping the pass. I don't know. That's just me. But the thing is with this team, you can't just sell the run or sell to stop the run. You also have to worry about the pass because Brock Purdy, he's a really good quarterback. It's not like with Jimmy Garoppolo where, he can't really throw the ball deep and he only throws middle of the field. So you can't really do anything about it. Brock Purdy throws all around the field. He doesn't have a crazy strong arm, but he tries those throws. He tries those deeper throws that Jimmy Garoppolo would heavily hesitate to touch unless he overthrows him in the Super Bowl. But it's almost like their defense was trash in the first half. I mean, they couldn't stop the run. I mean, they had a couple stops and then led them to a field goal or Niners having to take a field goal. They would also get some touchdowns off of it as well, which pretty kudos to them that they got them just field goals. And those field goals led to the Seahawks winning by 1 point or leading the game for 1 point. Then the second half comes around and Niners just flat out destroy them. It was not even close. The offense starts clicking. Defense starts committing turnovers and getting some stops. Brock Purdy clicking on all cylinders, not making mistakes anymore. Deebo Samuel going off, having a spectacular performance that we haven't seen in a while. The defense doing really great and stopping the pass, which they did not. I'll say this: they did stop the pass a bit, but they could not. And I mean, they could not stop DK Metcalf at all. He was going off. He was untouchable. But when they scored the 24th point, everyone was on the bench at that point. So it's not like, oh, well, the team allowed 24. Wait, I don't know, 23, my bad. 23 points. Well, it was against bench players. So it's nothing great besides their secondary because they don't have any bench players on secondary because their secondary is so injured. So that's what happens right there. When your secondary is so injured as shit, you can't put anyone on the bench. Well, I think they put Travarius Ward I mean, I'd put him on the bench too. He's playing like shit. Respectfully, he was playing trash. But other than that, the Nick Bosa really didn't have a good game this game. I just realized he didn't have a good game at all. He was non-existent until that fumble recovery, and he did get some pressures. He didn't get sacked this game. And who was great was Eric Armstead Amenahu, who had 2 sacks that game and the forced fumble. Credits to him, and more credits to the defensive line for playing great, for not having Nick Bosa, which was a complaint from the beginning that Nick Bosa carried this team, which he carried the defensive line specifically. And he didn't this game. He was non-existent, respectfully, and the whole team, I'm not going to say carried them, but put up their own, you know? They weren't a product of Bosa. They were a product of getting pressure by themselves, which good to them, which I will say Nick Bosa was probably targeted more often this game. Well, I mean, every game is going to be more targeted. Everyone's going to be more afraid of Bosa than they are Charlie Amenahu, Drake Jackson, Javon Kinlaw, and Eric Armstead. That's just how it goes. Oh, and Kerry Hyder as well. You're going to be focused on those. You're not going to be focused on those guys alone. You're going to be focused more on Bosa because he's more of the pass rusher than they are. They're more of a run stopper than anything else. I mean, they are pass rushers, don't get me wrong. Like Drake Jackson, he's a pure pass rusher. He just doesn't get a lot. He just gets limited time. The credit to the offense for once. I know I said Brock Purdy played great, but I didn't go in depth on the wide receiver, on the team as a whole offensively. Offensive line was great, giving time to Brock Purdy, giving him a lot of time. I know some plays they fucked up and, well, no, not even. Because sometimes Brock Purdy would like run, and then he gets sacked. So, I'm not saying it's Brock Purdy's fault. It was just he tried to make a play. He tried too much instead of, throwing it to the dirt, ending a play, which he does do that. It's just he didn't do it that time, which caused the sack. And most of the times, this offensive line has been really good. The run blocking was spectacular. Like I said earlier, in the first quarter, they had 96 rushing yards. That's insane. That's unheard of. Well, that's pretty much unheard of. I've never seen that in a game before. 96 rushing yards in a first quarter. Well, in person at least. Probably I've seen it in highlights, but just seeing like a whole team got 96 yards like that, that's insane. That's really good. That means you're doing something right. Obviously, that's happened before, but what I mean by that is you're doing something right offensively, blocking-wise and running-wise, if you're getting 96 yards. And also, Brandon Ayuk had a great game as well. 4 catches, 82 yards, no touchdowns. Well, you could have gotten that touchdown. I didn't talk about this play, but he could have got that touchdown if he caught it. Brock Purdy made a great play, great innovative play, just like scrambling out, trying to make something happen. And he scrambled out on the right side. He throws it straight to Ayuk's hands in a nice window. Ayuk could have caught that, and then Brock Purdy could have had another touchdown. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of adding points. It's like on the Cowboys and Bills Super Bowl, the first one that I'm talking about, where he has the ball in his hand. He's, like, showing it off. And then Don Beebe just smacks the ball out of his hands, and then the play is like a touchback. It's like, yeah, it's a dumb play from him, but at the end of the day, does it really matter? It doesn't fucking matter at all. It's just extra points to the fucking game. So really, who gives a shit? Now, Elijah Mitchell had a bad game. I'd like to see better. Jordan Mason got like a couple I didn't really see him this game. I'm gonna be honest. I was watching the game, but I don't remember him getting a couple, maybe like 2 or 3 touches, but that was it. McCaffrey was the bell cow today, doing amazing, spectacularly, running and receiving. George Kittle, I'd say he had a quiet game from what he was having prior to that. He would usually have a touchdown. This game he did not. But hey, he did pretty good. Good 2-point conversion. I'll give. That's his touchdown. There we go. That's his fucking touchdown. The 2-point conversion. Deebo Samuel going off. It's been a while since we've seen him go for 100 yards, a touchdown, and 6 catches. Wow, while having great running back skills right there. It's been a while since we've seen that. Kudos to Deebo right there. Jawan Jennings on that beautiful play. I thought that play would have been intercepted or tipped, but it was right on time by Brock Purdy. Great throw by him. Great throw. Just perfectly pinpoint right to Jawan Jennings' hands. My man mixed Brandon Ayuk's name with Jawan Jennings. Just mashed him up. Brandon Jennings. That's so nice. Oh, and the basketball player too. But who gives a shit about that guy? The Niners face the Cowboys. This just in. I know. I watched the fucking Monday night game. They just blew out the shit out of the Buccaneers. Am I shocked? Slightly. I thought it'd be more competitive because the Cowboys, they're up and down team, which is funny because last year the Niners were a quote-unquote up and down team. And, yeah, we'll see that game. I'll talk about that in the predictions.